Hey, welcome back to Real Boring Flips. This is Kevin here, and we're going to go through everything that we sold in July. We had a great July, actually. And so we're going to go through all that. We're going to tell you what we sold, what we paid for things, why we bought them in the first place, if we bought a bad item and still sold it. Um, we want to give you as much value in this video as we can, and because we operate on the value for value model, so we try to give you as much value as we can, and in return you give us value by liking these videos, subscribing to the channel, sharing these videos with people that you think might also enjoy this, and sending in your comments. I love getting comments and seeing what people think of the video and any questions you have. So thank you again for doing that. That really helps us. So thank you for doing that. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook, sort of, at Real Boring Flips. Trying to spend as much time on the YouTube side. So those other social media platforms were a little bit behind. But as we get through some of this building process that we're in the middle of, we'll get back into bringing more content on those as well. But you can find us there. In just a minute, we're going to jump over, go through all these items, and then we'll come back and give you some of the details as far as, items we sold, what we made selling them. And then basically, I'll try and remember this time to give you a little bit of an update on the status of our building our new eBay compound. So show you a couple photos there. Just as we're just about to head over there, I did want to tell you that I know you're not here for that. You're here for something else. You're here to find out what I'm enjoying, and I've been dying to enjoy this. This is Bub Love Bubble Tea, and this flavor is black milk tea with jelly pearls. And I think I had a different flavor of this, or different version of this before, but I am just wiped. It's been a long day, and so I'm going to enjoy this black tea. Hopefully it doesn't boost the toot too much, but we're going to shake this up, give it a taste, and then we'll jump over and go through all of our stuff. That'll give me a little bit of a boost, an energy boost, that I can get through all of these great items that we sold. I probably should have unpeeled this because it's a little more work than I thought it was going to be. Okay, there we go. A little more shake. The pop. It's definitely got that, almost tastes like licorice a little bit. And I think all my jellies are in the bottom, so I'm going to try to shake them down here. Let's try that again, take two. Much better. Highly enjoyable. Let's jump over, go through them, and then come back over here when you're done, and we can talk about the metrics for the month. Okay, first up was actually an item that was my personal item. This was a Sony Walkman, and I got this specifically because it had TV reception. And that's another thing that the government has taken away from us. Analog TV, over the air, and this was a great device for me. Eventually the tape quit working, and so I sold this for parts, and I took an offer at $14. I probably paid $100 for this darn thing. Here's two more cordless phones. You hear me talk about these, but these are really bread and butter sales for Real Boring Flips, and easy to list, easy to store, and just wait for them to sell and ship them out. I think I took an offer at $10.92. I think they wanted to keep the total to a certain amount. Here's a small figure. I don't normally sell figures like this, but this one came in a bag of a bunch of other figures, and I just noticed that this one had a little better value by itself. So we went ahead and sold this one and got my full price of $10, or $9.88 as we say here on Real Boring Flips. And I had less than $1 into this one figure. Here's one of the last cars that I bought in this large lot at Goodwill. I bought a bunch of these Super Kings Matchbox sets, And this one, I didn't think this would ever sell. I paid $7 for it, and I got my full price of $28. I've been selling some of the Mr. Coffee iced tea pitchers, but not these. And so I put these on 50% discount just to move them out. And I sold 2 of them here. You're going to see this one I got $7.44 on discount. And I paid about $2 for this thing. Here's a set of kind of like tarot cards. I pretty much stopped buying these unless they are home run hitters. I paid $5 for this box, and I got my full price of $13 plus shipping. Here's a golf club. I love these. I hate these. I actually just sold a really nice set of Ping Eye 2s. But this one, I paid $10 for it. I took an offer of $30 just to get it moved along. Here's a second one of those Mr. Coffee pitchers. Just trying to get some of my inventory moved that has been sitting around. I thought these would sell quicker and much better, and this version just doesn't. This was kind of a neat game. I got this game along with a bunch of other board games. I was really doing board games hard, and so kind of pulled back on those. This one was a nice complete set, and I got my full price of $40, and I only paid $7 for this one. Around the time I was buying those cars at Goodwill, I also bought several models. You're going to see a couple of them here. I finally got around to listing them. This one sold immediately. Maybe I priced it too low, but the box was just completely obliterated. It appeared to be complete, and I got my full price ask of $70 plus shipping, but I paid $13 for this. So I probably buy this one again, knowing what I know now, but for the most part I don't buy models that aren't sealed. And I don't normally buy these either, but I bought this one, bought a few different ones actually that were Wi-Fi cable modems. And you've heard me talk about this if you've been following along. I stopped buying these unless they're in the box, and this one was in the box. I paid, what did I pay for that? I paid $13 for it, but I did get my full price of $45 plus shipping. This Dragonlance game was another thing that I bought when I was really buying board games, and I paid $6 for it. I thought it was going to be worth something. Turned out it was missing all the cards except for the base player cards. So I ended up listing it, and I got an offer of $18, so I took it just to get it moved along. Here's a Jack LaLanne juicer pulp cup. One of the best things to buy if you're reselling, if you can get them cheap. And I only had about $1 into this one, and I got my full price of $15 plus shipping. I think this one actually came from the bins when you saw me in the bins store recently. My first trip to the bins. We bought, you also saw this video recently, a bunch of Playmobil sets from a estate of a previous toy store owner, and a bunch of sets. This one was relatively complete, I believe, and we got our full price asking of $100 plus shipping, and I had about $10 into this set. Here's another juicer piece. I buy the juicers when I get them for $2 for the most part, and this particular model, this SHL90 model, seems to sell pretty well. I sold most of the parts. I don't deal with the motors, I just toss those, but most of the parts on this one sold. This was not a great buy. I thought it was going to be great because it had a lot of pieces and parts, but it did not have the field. There's like a felt field that was supposed to be in the box, and it was not. I did sell this during the World Cup, but I took an offer of $15. I paid $8 for it. I just wanted it out of here. I got these this set of books. I think we showed these in a video. It was an estate sale, tons and tons and tons of books, and we went back on the last day to see if we could find anything good to resell. And there was a whole set of these vintage Pittman drawing books, and so I only paid $2 for the set. I took an offer of $25 plus shipping. Here's a thing I sell quite often, these Farberware controllers for electric skillets and woks and whatnots. And this one I got at Goodwill on the electronics aisle for $1. They don't normally price them at $1, but for some reason this one didn't have a price. I think it's a loophole in the galaxy at Goodwill, because if they're unmarked, if they're unpriced, they're $1, but if they're priced, they're usually $5. So I'm not sure if someone took the price off. I didn't, but I did ask them if they had a price they wanted to put on it, and they just said $1 was fine. I took an offer of $25. Here's a Samsung Blu-ray player. Now, unfortunately, right as I was selling this, I got a remote for it, so I wasn't able to bundle the remote with this one. I would have gotten a lot more than the $24 I took as an offer. I only had $2 into it. Here's a Playmobil, another Playmobil set. This one was just the trailer for a tractor, but the new accessories was included as well. I got a full price of $40 for this. I only had about $5 into it. Here's a great Catan board game. This was a Star Trek version. Now, it was missing one piece, and it was just a very minor piece, and the previous owner had created a new piece out of a bottle cap. And so I could not source a replacement, and it really wasn't going to be worth buying a replacement part, so I just sold it as is. And I got my full price of $25. I probably sold it too low because it sold immediately, and I had $8 into this game. I finally sold the second of two of these big Acme Supreme Juicer Raiders. I got this one at an estate sale for $6. The other one I sold, I only paid $2 at a Goodwill. I got my full price of $45 plus shipping, and this was a beast. Here's another thing that I don't normally buy, but this one came at the free rummage sale. I basically had about $3 into it with my donations, and it was new, or not new in the box, but a nice Wi-Fi router. I took an offer of $30. I only had about $3 into it, so I got my 10x. Here's something I do look for is new in the box Breville kitchen appliances. This was a pie maker. And it caught my attention because, number one, it was new in the box. But we've been making tiny pies, and it would have been nice to keep this one, but this one sold at my full price of $80. I only had $20 into it. Here's something that sold. So this was the first thing I sold that had a lithium battery with it since the post office supposedly added a $7.50 charge for shipping hazmat. I don't know if I was charged that. I wasn't charged when I printed the label, and I'm not sure if I haven't seen an adjustment. So I'm curious if any of you out there have been shipping hazmat items. Have you been getting a charge? Are you getting an adjustment charge? I'm not sure how that works. I got my full price of $60. I paid $20 for the wave roller, and then I had a AC adapter that worked with it, and it was great. The one thing for shipping these, you have to get the battery level down below 30%, I think 30% or 33% of a full charge. It sat here for probably about 45 minutes before it finally got under 30%, and I had charged this months ago. So this was actually a pretty great device. Here's another one of those models, like the earlier Robotech. This is a really cool BMW model. It looked like it had just started, someone had just started building it, so I think a couple of pieces were put together and painted. But unfortunately, there were no instructions, and so I finally just listed it. I couldn't find really a good comp. I listed it at $30. It sold almost immediately. I paid $15 for it, so not sure if I undersold it. This is a great, like a law enforcement, I guess, backpack that you would have all your weaponry in. It sat around here forever. I finally listed it. I took an offer at $60, and I only paid $10 for it. Here's another juicer part. I put all my Breville juicer parts on 50% off because they just were not selling. And so I sold this one at about $5. I basically, had less than $1 into this piece. So this was a funny sale because I had two of these brand new vintage slot cars. I sold the other one earlier for pretty good money, I think $150, $160. And this one I just had listed for like $200, and I think I had it listed for quite a bit, $260 or something. And this guy messaged me and told me that I was out to lunch, that there was no way this was worth more than $100. And so I thought, I'm going to give this guy a bone. I countered at like 150. He came back at 120, and I took the offer. I had basically $20 into this car, and so I got a $100 profit on it, and I think I got extra on the shipping as well. I had several of these Clue Effects games. Somehow I decided these were worth buying. I paid about $6 for this one. I finally got around to listing all three of them, and you're going to see another one here soon, but I sold two of them at $15. I got one left. Here's a Pentax camera. I don't buy these anymore because they just aren't worth selling. I paid $8 for this one, and I took an offer at $18 plus shipping. Here's another juicer part. I got my full price of $13 plus shipping. I had basically $1 into this part. I kind of got tired of these. I had several bags of these that I had put together and had listed for quite a while at $35 and just weren't selling. I ended up with another small bag, so I added those, kept the price, and sold almost immediately, so got them moved along. I had about $20 into the 3 bags, so not worth buying on my end. This hard drive is one of many that I got when I bought an entire room at an estate sale. I think I'm down to maybe my last, I think I have 10 left. Now, you're going to see a hard drive later on that is worth getting. These are just, the type of hard drive this is, it just doesn't have much value. But you do want to pay attention to hard drives. I only had about $1 into this, and I got my full price of $13 plus shipping. I think it was 13. Yeah, $13 plus shipping. Here's another Clue game that I mentioned earlier. Glad to see these go. I got one left. I bought a Mr. Coffee pot thinking that was worth parting out. It had a stainless steel carafe, which I also have listed. And this part actually was worth selling. I took a $15 offer on just the water tank. Basically had $1 into it. I'm not going to buy those normally. Here's something I would buy normally. I did pay $5 for it at Goodwill, but I knew I would get something for it, and I took an offer at $40 for this. Basically, it's a monitor adapter for your computer. I thought for sure I was going to lose my shorts on this camera. I paid $180 at a estate sale auction for this. There was actually 2 cameras. You're going to see the other one later on, but I paid for the 2 cameras. I paid over $200. But I was surprised. I eventually did get my full price offer, or full price of $290 plus shipping. Now, when you sell stuff that's higher price, your eBay fee is much higher. So the eBay fee here was probably $35, $40 maybe. So I'm really not making much on this camera. I really gotta prevent myself from overpaying for stuff. This Playmobil pirate ship, this was one of many that we bought. This was the store display model. I also have this same set in a sealed, with all the accessories sealed, also for sale. I paid maybe $10 for this, $5 to $10 for everything that we bought there. Here's another golf club. This one was in a bag with a bunch of other clubs, and actually a really nice Callaway bag that I also have for sale. I paid roughly $10 for this one club, and I took an offer at $90 plus shipping. I hate selling golf clubs just because of the packing. I should really just try to invest in some actual golf club boxes, because I normally make my own. This Vitamix blender we bought at a garage sale. They had a lot of stuff, but most of it was kind of the odd Amazon brands from China. But they had this one Vitamix mixer that was brand new. You could tell it had never been used. It had the little wand that goes with it, and we paid $15 for it. I took an offer at $95. I was comfortable with that. I got this Marvel game and bought it, listed it the same day, sold the next day at offer for $24. I don't mind doing that. If I can get something for $8 and within hours sell it for at least double, that was worth it, and it was easy to ship, and I got a few extra dollars on the shipping. Okay, here's the hard drive I was telling you about. We got this one at our local St. Vincent de Paul. What was interesting about it is I only paid $8 or $9 for it, but it was in a box, but it wasn't the same hard drive that the box was for. And so I wasn't sure on it because because I had to sort out which model I was looking at. But these older IDE parallel ATA drives, that's what you want to look for, the parallel ATA. Some of those, especially if they're new like this one, it was still factory sealed. These can bring great money. This one I got a full price of $150 for my $9 investment. Here's another cordless telephone. I got $1 into this. I think I took an offer at $9.50. Okay, here's the second camera that came with that earlier Canon camera. I basically sold this for full price of $30, but this was about $25 of my total investment. So bad buy. Don't do that. Don't do what I did. Here's a Settlers of Catan game. I don't normally buy these. I do buy the expansion packs, but this was a sealed box. I paid $13 for it, but it sold within the day for an offer of $34. I also have a sealed expansion that I bought at the same time. But this basically paid for both sets. So when I sell the next one, it'll be pure profit. Here's something that was in a box with some other stuff that I bought. I've had these listed for a long time. Finally got an offer on these little vintage compact, makeup compact mirrors. Really cool looking. But I basically had about $20 into them. I took a $20 offer. This was a great find. Yaesu is a great amateur radio brand to look out for. ICOM as well. This was $8 at Goodwill. It was the radio. It had a battery, and I could turn it on and tell it worked. What I didn't have was a battery charger. And so I did make the investment. I paid $34.69 to get the original Yaesu battery charger, and then I ended up getting a off-brand AC adapter for the charger, but had a total investment of, actually total investment of $34.69. It cost me about $25 to get the battery charger. And I took an offer at $195. I love those kind of buys. It took a little while, but I love those kind of buys. Here's some computer games. Now, I don't remember exactly where I got these, but I got a whole bunch of stuff at one estate sale in the picker pile. This was part of it. These were 2 Train expansion packs for Microsoft Train. And so I put the all 3 together. I had about $2 into these. I got a full price $30 purchase plus shipping. There's another thing that I'm always leery about buying stuff that's factory sealed, but these were 2 DJI mini drone batteries sealed and the battery charger. I paid $15 for the charger and I paid $8 for each of the batteries. I don't know if I got the $7.50 charge from the post office, but I took an offer of $175 plus shipping, so that meets my needs. Here's something I don't buy anymore, but I had a bunch of these, and I've slowly been selling them. These are VHS-C tapes, blank sealed tapes. I probably had a couple of dollars, maybe $3 or $4 into these 8 tapes, and I got a full $15 plus shipping. This I just recently bought. This was one of those artificial fish tank lamps. Just saw one recently on another YouTuber channel, and I paid $5 for this one at Goodwill. Sold it the next day at offer of $24 plus shipping. Here's something funny. I bought a whole bunch of nativity blow molds at an estate sale. I got so many to sell, but this pig was in there, and it was marked from 1990, Don Featherstone. I thought it might have some value. I'm not sure what a pig is doing in a Christmas nativity scene, but I took an offer of $32 plus shipping, and I had a couple of dollars into this pig. This was a great pickup that I got at a picker pile from an online estate sale from several years ago. I finally got around to listing it. I actually got this computer plus some of the accessories plus a bunch of books for this computer, and I'm selling the books separately. But I got a pretty quick full price of $230 plus shipping. I only had maybe $10 into this, if that. These are great. Vintage computer stuff can be really good. You just kind of have to know what you're looking at. And this one, I was able to get it to work, but I think it definitely needs some work on it, but it had some good stuff with it. This Batmobile, I remember buying it at Goodwill. I paid $15 for it. I thought it was going to be worth a ton. I finally marked it down 20% and sold relatively quickly after that for $55.90 plus it was about $40 in shipping that they paid. So somebody really wanted it. It was big. I kept having to move it around. I wouldn't buy this again. But one thing that was good about this is I had some figures that I bought separately, and it turned out I had the actual Batman that went with this RC Batmobile. So I was able to include that. This little Breville waffle maker I got at my local Goodwill. I paid $13 for it, but I knew I would get a fairly good amount, and I got my full price of $70 plus shipping. Breville is a great brand to look for. Here's some more Train stuff that I think I got at the same time I got the Train computer programs. This was basically a bunch of DVDs. So there were Train magazines that you'd get a DVD with. Train people are interesting. They are an interesting sector of society. I listed these quite a while ago. I think there were 24 plus actually a couple of more that were just duplicates. But I got an offer of $42. I had a couple of dollars into this, maybe, if that. Here's another Blu-ray player. I didn't have a remote for this one. I paid $2 for it and took an offer of $20 plus shipping. I've been looking for these smaller Blu-ray players. They seem to sell pretty well. And if I can get them for a couple of dollars, I'll get probably 20. If I have the remote, maybe 30, 35. So I'm on the hunt for the various remotes that I need. I knew when I picked this up, in fact, I think a guy in the store told me nice score or something like that. This is a Yamaha Portasound voice bank. I think I sold this exact one before, and so I knew it would be good money. I paid $13 for it. What was funny is it had an AC adapter taped to it, and so I thought it was the original one, but when I got home, I found out it wasn't. It didn't go to this, but it does have some pretty good value. I think I'll probably get $25 for the adapter that was taped to this. I took an offer at $75, basically within a day. I had it listed at $80. $75 was fine. Okay, now this is the final item from our main store. You saw me a couple years ago buy, actually you didn't see me buy, you saw me talk about buying because I wasn't filming in the stores at the time, but a whole cart of vintage games came out, including several Hero Quest and Hero Quest expansion packs. I got this Hero Quest Elf Quest pack for $6. When I got home and looked through everything, this was missing one card. Now I could have sold this missing one card, but I would have probably gotten less than half of what I got, because I sold this international for $450 complete. I did pay $20 to get the one card I needed, but fortunately I was able to get it. So I was happy about that. So I got about $26, $27 invested in this game. I do have the 3 other expansion packs for the original Hero Quest. So I'm looking to get quite a few more sales, quite a bit more money. But check out that video. I was back in that stage. I was really using my creativity in my video, in my YouTube videos. So that's it from our main store. But let me take you through what we sold on our second store. Our second store is really coming around. So these first 2 items were, you saw last month where I talked about shipping the wrong item to the wrong person. This was the make good. I resold the items to the right people. I resold them to the people and shipped them to the right people. So I didn't really make much on these, but I did get them to the right buyers. I bought this. I have several of these, and I've sold several of these. I love these things. Be on the lookout for these bird clocks. This one was brand new in the box. I paid $10 for it. I got a full price of $60. Now, one thing that was weird is I didn't see this for a while because this is on our secondary store, so I don't get the emails directly. But at some point after this was delivered, the buyer messaged me and said, hey, the secondhand fell off. And I could not figure out how that could have happened. I mean, it was working in my pictures. You see it. So I wasn't sure. They never messaged me after that. They said they were going to try and fix it, and they just wanted me to know. So I'm not sure whatever happened. I would have probably requested they just return it, but apparently they must have fixed it. That was odd. Here's an item you saw, I think you saw recently, yeah, in a video. I was questioning whether I'd even get this thing sold before eBay canceled it. But we got this vintage Dukes of Hazzard General Lee light up, sound up car. We paid $6 for it. I took an offer at $80 and got it shipped out of here. be on the lookout for these. I find these a lot in just the boxes of wires when you're at estate sales or even thrift stores. They don't look like anything, but these are calibration microphones. So if you have a stereo receiver, you will use this to calibrate the sound in your room. This one I paid $5 for at Goodwill. It was in the box. I have another one of these, same ones from Odyssey. I've sold the Yamaha versions before, several of those. I usually get at least $20 for used ones. This one I got my full price of $30. I paid $6 for it, I think. Here's another good item that I found, brand new in the box, VHS rewinder. I paid $7 for it at Goodwill. It sold pretty quickly for my full price of $33 plus shipping. These are really good finds in general, but if you can find them new, you really can get some great money. Here's a Ninja Blender pitcher, and then the next item is the actual motor that we bought. We paid $15 for the set and sold both of these relatively quickly. The pitcher, we got the full price of $40 plus shipping, and I took a $15 offer on the motor. I hardly ever sell the motors, but just selling the motor paid for the whole purchase. Okay, here's an item. This was my test. I wanted to see if I could make money buying a Samsung One Connect box for $80 at Goodwill. Now, this is the same one that we have with our frame TV, so I was able to actually test it, confirm it was working. I took an offer at $140. So we did make some money, but man, right after I came out with a video talking about how I finally had on video me finding a Samsung One Connect at Goodwill, it's almost as if they were watching my videos, because the next time I found one, $80. So I bought this set, this little Hot Wheels set of track and connectors. We paid $6 for it. I was on the fence about even buying it because I didn't know if it had any value. I got a $20 offer relatively quickly, and we took it, $20 plus shipping. Here's some more Playmobil. We got a ton of stuff like this, little accessory packs. And these were the rock. We got some dark gray rocks. We got some light gray rocks. We got all kinds of rocks. And so I put little sets together. This one, I took an offer of $24 plus shipping. I have basically $1 into this whole set. Here's something I probably wouldn't buy again, although this is a very good one. I bought a whole city, a whole village of Munsters houses and structures. This is the best one, and I took an offer at $90. I probably have about $25 in each of them. Most of the other ones aren't worth much, so this is probably the best part of this one. I think I had paid over $120 for all of them. I've sold a couple of them now, but I'm probably not going to make any money on the other ones. Here's something to look out for: Highlights magazines. Now, I think in one of my recent videos, I talk about Highlights. I talk about selling these ones. These were Highlights, specific Highlight magazines that had maps for every state in the country. I didn't have a full set. I had 44 of the magazines, but I had 47 of the maps, and they were all in really great condition. I thought about trying to source just the ones I was missing, but it was gonna cost too much. So I just listed these, and then I took an offer of $32 plus shipping. It cost me $1 to buy this whole set, so I felt pretty good about that. Here's a great game that I got at a St. Vincent de Paul. The board game prices at my St. Vincent de Paul are great. They're like a couple of dollars for a board game. Now, they don't normally have good board games, but one day I was in there and I found this Stratego Waterloo board game. Very nice condition, brand new looking. I paid 55 cents for this board game, so it was on sale, and I took an offer of $34 plus shipping. It sold pretty quickly. I had this Simpsons Rubik's Cube game for a long time, finally listed it, and it sold pretty quickly for my full price of $35 plus shipping. I think I bought it for about $6 or $7. We got this piece of a Breville food processor at the free rummage sale that we like to go to, and unfortunately I did not get the rest of the Breville stuff. There was a pressure cooker and there was a juicer that I really should have grabbed and just didn't. It was a bad move on my part. Anytime you see Breville, double check, make sure, take a look. This came cheap and it sold pretty quickly. Just this one piece for my full asking of $35 plus shipping. We've been clearing out quite a bit of our Ninja products, and this was another 72-ounce pitcher with lid, with blade, and we got our we took an offer at $35. I think I only had $5 into this one. I think this one came from another Goodwill I don't normally go to, and they sold this separate for just $5. I couldn't believe it. Here's a set of magazines. We bought a bunch of quilting magazines at a online estate sale, bundled them up into different sets. This was a UK set, so keep your eye, if you're in the US, keep your eye out on UK magazines. I do pretty well with those. And this lot of 14 magazines cost us a couple of dollars. We took an offer of $65 plus shipping. Here's something else you should look out for. This is the Kirkland Professional cookware, but it's the copper core cookware. And you can see a little copper disc at the base. Not the whole bottom, but just you'll see a little line of copper going around. And I've got a couple of these. Now I paid $8 for this one, and I took an offer at $25. But these are great pickups if you can get them cheap enough. I probably paid too much for this one, but we were just at the free rummage sale again, and I got an entire set of copper core cookware. I mentioned, I think last time, just the not being able to sell the Ninja motors and how I was using them to just confirm what model of pitcher that I had. And now I've sold out all of my motors. I think this was the last one, and I had $7.50, and we paid $15 for the whole set. I sold the pitcher earlier, and I got a full price of $25 plus shipping for this one. I've sold vintage chess sets before, and so I was comfortable paying $2 for this set at my local Goodwill. I knew it wasn't going to be a big money. I was hoping to get a little more, but it just wasn't worth that, so I priced it and got my full price of $13 plus shipping. Here's something I got for free. I went into this rummage sale, and they had a bunch of free stuff laying out front. I found the coffee carafe, and I thought, well, for free I'll take it. And then I noticed the box separate, so I ended up finding the box. Was able to put it all together. I took a $13 offer plus shipping for a free item, not bad. Okay, these next two items have had here forever. These are the vintage electronic dream phone games. The first one I paid $5 at a garage sale years ago, but I knew. I think at some point during our move, it got put in a box and I lost track of it. So I recently discovered it. I also bought a copy on Shop Goodwill. I paid $37 for the second set. It was missing a card. And the set that I had that had all the cards, there was a crazy misprint where all the cards looked terrible. Just the color was terrible on them. So I was it was in a quandary on what to do. So I decided to list them competitively, put them both out there at $200 plus shipping, and I sold them both within a day or two of listing. I'm fine with that. I still got quite a bit of profit on both games. They're out of here now. And the best thing was I had the perfect boxes for these. Sometimes, as a reseller, you kind of hold on to boxes. And in this case, I had 2 of the perfect boxes. Here's another set of these Chuck Missler Bible commentary cassette sets. We got these for free. Several months ago, I got a huge lot of these free sets. We put all the complete sets together and listed them. Now I'm listing the incomplete sets, and we're starting to sell those as well. But I got $0 into this, and I took an offer of $30 plus shipping. Now this set, we ended up refunding the buyer for this set. This was the only set that had a different type of cassette tape. You could tell it was different. And this buyer actually has bought many sets from me. And she messaged and said, "This, for some reason, the tapes just will not play." And I think there was just a different formula of tape, and maybe it went bad over time. So normally I would ask for stuff to be returned before I do a refund, but because this buyer has bought so much from me, I just went ahead and refunded her. This Cuisinart food processor bowl, it looked brand new. I actually have the lid and the pusher that I'm selling separately. These came from the free rummage sale that we recently went to. I got less than $1 into it, and I took a $20 offer for the bowl. Here's the first of 2 of these almond milk makers. Now, I had no problem buying these off the shelf at Goodwill for $15 a piece. This was the set that was not as complete. It didn't have the screen and it didn't have the cup. But it did work. It did have the cord. I sold this one full price at $35 plus shipping. But I did one thing that I learned from when I sold a butter, very similar looking butter machine. I learned to add the word edibles to these devices, and because people do use these to create edibles, and so I did that and sold both of them. The next one sold a couple of days after the end of July, so you'll see that next month. But great things to look for. Had no problem spending $16, $15 for it because I knew I would get at least double that, and I did on this one. And the last thing sold was another set to the same buyer that we refunded. She's bought many of these, and luckily she was able to check these tapes as well to make sure these were working, and these were fine. So the end of a really great month. Really happy with how July turned out. It was slow going at the beginning, but really came on at a rush. And we're back. A great month of sales. Now July was really, June was really stinking, and the beginning of July was a little slow, but we kind of came on strong at the end. Now we're about mid-August now, and started off great, and been a few days of crickets chirping. So it's weird how this works, but anytime we get a little bit of a slowdown, we've always got work to fill in. Now, I've actually been working on the new building, but there's always work to fill in. We have a ton of inventory here that we're going through, basically trying to identify things we want to get listed now as opposed to when we get to them. So let me go through some of the numbers with you because it was a great month. We had, between our 2 stores, we had 90 sales. So that's where I want to be, because that's basically 3 a day. That's really pushing it for me with the other stuff we have going on, and packing 3 items a day is that's about what I can do right now. So we're right where we want to be at the moment. For those 90 items, we brought in $6,721.01. We had it cost us $861.08 for shipping, and then our cost of goods sold was $1,012.52, and then our eBay fees were $832.70 for a grand total profit on the sales. Now, obviously, we have other expenses to take into account, but profit on these sales was $4,014.71. That's great. I would love to be there consistently throughout the year. Now, that hasn't happened in the past. So, but that number is really good for us. If you've been following along, you know that for about 5 years, we were doing this part-time while I was still working full-time. And then I retired at the end of last year, so we've been able to do as much as we want since the beginning of this year. And still trying to get my footing under me as far as how much do I want to do and when do I not want to do. That was kind of always the game plan, was to make this a fun thing, not turn this into a new crappy job, which a lot of resellers actually fall into. I see a lot in Facebook groups and on YouTube, people talking about wanting to quit their crappy job to start reselling full time, only to turn reselling into that crappy job. So don't do that. So all of these were actually really good sales because we didn't have a lot of big items. I did have that right at the end there, that Hero Quest game, which was a spectacular find. And I'll put a link to that video. So I didn't, I think I might have talked about this when we were over at the other desk, but I wasn't filming at that point in stores, but I did have a picture of my cart when that happened. And I did do a video about that haul. So I'll put a link into that. That was an early Real Boring Flips video, so don't critique my video production quality. But it's fun that any reseller that's doing this part-time, whatever, you always want to have those like home run finds, and that was like one of the most spectacular ones I've had. And for some reason, I've been seeing a lot lately on YouTube, people talking about the fake resellers on YouTube that stage their buys and all that stuff. And I can tell you, for me, that was a real one. And you don't have those all the time, but that was a great one for me. So I'm looking forward to selling the rest of those items as we get them listed. So we'll close up now, but thank you again for joining us. Thank you for liking and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that. We're trying to get over the hump. Now, YouTube keeps raising the bar on us, so I'm not sure what we'll do about that, but we really want to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we're getting close to 700, and we want to keep getting view hours. So please consider looking at some of our other videos, watching some of our past videos. We do what sold videos, we do thrifting videos. I do a few other videos. I'm getting one ready, a grading shop Goodwill video. We bought some stuff. I want to unpack it and show you how they did on packing my items that I bought. We've had some crazy deliveries from Shop Goodwill that I would never do to one of my customers. So those are always fun. So look forward to that. But please check out other videos. That really helps as well. And as I always say, join me again next time. And have some of this Bub Love. To be honest, this isn't my favorite. I don't think I've ever said that. But we're going to continue enjoying it, so don't worry.
Real Boring Flips.